What's up, guys? So I want to show you the 5 best things I've ever spent money on that put me on the road to financial independence. So I'm a real estate investor, software engineer, and currently have a net worth of about $2.8 million, most of that being equity in a startup that I helped found. That's not to brag, this is just some context as to why these things helped me get to where I am today. So I'm going to break these things down into 3 different categories, and all of these categories will be linked down right here on the little time bar at the bottom if you want to jump around, jump back, jump forward, whatever you want to do. First category is going to be the books that helped change my mindset to help me think the way that I need to be thinking to get to the goals that I have. The second is going to be the biggest and most important purchase that I've ever made that might not seem so obvious that set me on the road to financial independence. And lastly is going to be 2 of the best tools that I've ever spent money on that have enabled me to start the businesses that I want to run and have also led to where I am today. So being in the right mindset is incredibly important in order to actually reach the goals that you have. My goals are very lofty and crazy sort of goals, and being able to be in the right mindset day after day and week after week to progress towards those goals is massively important. Books are one of the main ways that I get that mindset into the right place. There are a few key YouTube channels that help with this as well, but on the book front, there are 2 that really stand out to me. 2 of these books that I read very, very early on in my financial journey. The first being The 4-Hour Work Week, which really helped me to reframe how I think about time versus money. And sometimes it actually makes sense to spend some money to increase the amount of time you have. And it doesn't always make sense to just decrease money expenditures every single time at the cost of your time. The second book that I wanted to talk about was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This was also massively impactful for both myself, and I know it was impactful for Justin as well, in the way that we think about assets versus liabilities, especially when it comes to our own personal lives. Now, it's pretty obvious in business, assets versus liabilities and what those sort of mean, but when it gets to your personal finances, it's a little bit different. Is your house an asset or is it a liability? And understanding what that means and understanding where you should be directing most of your excess money towards and figuring out how to build that wealth by leveraging assets is massively important. And this book taught me probably everything I know about it. I mentioned before there is one single purchase that might be the biggest and most impactful thing I've ever spent money on to set myself on the road to financial independence. And it's a little bit weird. It's like I didn't really buy anything necessarily, but I paid for a loan. This is a loan from Lending Club that I got about a year and a half ago, I believe. I'll link the video up here to when I actually got this loan, and the reason that I got it was to pay off credit card debt. So in founding the company that I founded, I had found myself in about $25,000 to $30,000 worth of credit card debt that we saw absolutely no way out of. None at all. Made me tear up once in a while. It was very, very depressing. And at the beginning of my financial independence journey, I knew that this is one of the things that I needed to tackle. And after putting together this ridiculous spreadsheet to figure out what the right ways to do that, should I use the snowball method, the whatever other credit card methods there are, I talk about it in the video that I linked above, I decided to get a loan to refinance that, and I ended up spending a lot less money, but it did cost me money to get it, and that's why this is here. Also, any of these things that I'm mentioning in this video will be linked down in the description. Okay, the last category might be a little bit more of an oddball category and probably doesn't apply to every single person that's gonna be watching this video. Granted, maybe there's only 2 of you, so maybe it does. Maybe one applies to one applies to the other, who knows? I don't know. But I wouldn't be where I am today getting to do the things that I want to be doing, like making these YouTube videos or building cool software apps, without a couple of key tools at my disposal. The first one that I want to talk about is my MacBook Pro. My MacBook, the very first one that I bought was like the original unibody MacBook. And I've since upgraded to the MacBook Pro, and I continue to buy these every 4 to 5 years or so, as they are massively good investments for me. They've enabled me to learn software engineering and grow my career as a software engineer that has now led to me being able to make almost $365,000 a year. I make money through consulting, I make money through a full-time job, and many other ways that I can leverage this computer to make more money. And that's why that's one of the biggest, most impactful financial purchases that I've made. The second is my camera, my GH4. It's this one right there, that one, that you watch all of my YouTube videos through. It's the thing that I record everything with. It was the thing that really opened my eyes to how much I love creating things and making things, and what ultimately led to my realization of how much I love teaching finance and this YouTube platform and everything that goes along with it. And without that, I wouldn't be able to be doing this, exactly what you see here, to the level that I want to be doing it. At least you can obviously start with your iPhone or whatever you might have. If you don't have an iPhone because you use Android like me. But that's why it's one of the best purchases I've ever made, and I've never once regretted having this camera. Without these tools, I would not be able to be where I am today. They've helped me so much in getting where I am, and they're going to continue being leveraged to progress me further and further and further towards my financial independence and my goals. All of the things I talked about in this video are linked down below. There's also a link to all of the gear and products that I use on a day-to-day basis and highly, highly, highly recommend. These are all, well, not all of them, but some of them are affiliate links, so just that's an FYI, but I will never put anything on that list that I do not use regularly or have not used before and love. If this video was helpful to you, or you think it might be helpful to someone else that you know, please share it with them, hit that like button and subscribe, and I will talk to you down in the comments. Peace.